Okay, we're going to get started in a second. Okay, just want to pull up my notes. A couple things I want to talk about tonight. So we're going to get started in a second, y'all. Hey guys, come on in. Probably should have called this masterclass, but I didn't. Probably should have, but I didn't. But it's definitely about to be a masterclass in this room tonight. I probably should have definitely posted this out to everybody, but whatever. I will send it out as replay. So hello everyone. Come on in, come on in, come on in. And if you're watching the replay, hello to you. I wish I was streaming on YouTube too. I wonder if I could do it at the same time. But I'm using 3 platforms already, so it is what it is. But hey guys, I hope that you guys are doing well. I want to try this though because I want to add on another platform. I know I'm doing the most, right? But I really want to get my other YouTube channel to get this. Okay, so let me just plug this in real quickly. Okay. Okay. And let me just get this up. Hold on, guys. 1 second. Okay. Let's get YouTube up and then we're going to get started. So hello to everyone who's watching. Okay. I'm just going to test this and then we're going to get started. Okay. We're good. Okay. So all the platforms are on from YouTube, both YouTube channels. Hey, Whitney, how are you? Hey guys. So we have both YouTube channels up. We have Instagram up. We have Facebook up. Okay. So we're everywhere. Okay. So before we get started, if you're watching this live or watching the replay, I want you to put in the chat where you're from, because we're going to get this started and I really want to get you guys involved. This is pretty much a mini masterclass, and I'm coming back with fire. I'm coming back with making sure you guys are good, and that requires me to dig deeper. So again, I want you guys to put in the chat where you're from, or if you're watching the replay, just put in the comments. You can comment where you're from. Okay. And so we got Jamaica in the house. Okay, shout out to Jamaica. Listen, we are international. I'm really excited because we have, my community has so many people from so many different places. And so, it is amazing. But shout out to where you guys are at. So again, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. But we're going to get started. I want to jump in, so guys, you can comment where you're from in the chat in different places. But I want to get started because we don't have much time, and I have a 10 o'clock call that I have to do. So literally, we're going to be in and out. But I want to spend enough time covering this ground because what I'm talking about is really, 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 really important. And this has come from just the DMs I've been getting on social media in reference to your business really being successful. And the root of every business is sales. I cannot harp on this heavily. I'm all about purpose. I'm all about destiny. Listen, I'm all for it. But when we talk about business, if you're not bringing revenue, then we have a major problem. If you're not bringing consistent revenue, then we're having a major problem, right? And I think where we are in our culture, it's so easy to start a business, right? It's so easy. You don't even have to get a license. You could be a little freelancer or solopreneur, right? Make some money as a side hustle that we're saying today. And so because of the ease, get a domain, build a website, have something to sell, I launch, or, you create a social media page. We think that because of how easy it is, then it's easy to ignore. It's easy to, cover under the rug and say, oh, I wasn't successful this past quarter, or, I didn't really make any money, but that's okay, and then you kind of drag it from quarter to quarter. And if that's you and you're watching on one of our live stream platforms, let me know in the chat if that's you, because the way we're going to be dealing with this is through honesty, right? Like realizing that that's me. I don't have any sales goals. I'm not really, pushing myself any harder from month to month or quarter to quarter. And if I don't hit my goals, I don't really do anything about it. right? And the first thing is, in order to get from one point to another, you have to know first where you are, right? And a lot of people are lying to themselves. Tonight's gonna be a straightforward conversation to help you help yourself. And when we get done this live, you are things that you're going to apply tonight, okay? You're going to apply them and you're going to work them. But it's only going to come to those that work it. Because I'm telling you this, whatever you desire when it comes to your business, I'm going to tell you this, if you believe it, you can have. Because business is not really like a mystical thing. Business is not some kind of weird out science that I have to be a genius at. It is literally a principled thing. Now, of course, there's the markets, there's certain, conditions, but business has kind of like a simple strategy. And this is why many people they fail, because they're overthinking. They're like trying to like be deep with it, right? Meanwhile, there's other people that go out and build businesses for fun. And usually they're the ones that are making all the money. Okay. They're the ones making all the money because they're not overthinking what you're overthinking, right? They're not adding in the emotionalism that you're adding in, where your emotions are so tied to these ideas and you're not breathing and just executing. And so because of these things, we have to simplify. Okay. And so we have to be honest with ourselves and know, okay, if I'm not measuring my success, if I'm not documenting certain things, then my success will not come. Okay, so let's get into these 3 things I want to knock out. You're going to get your stuff and then I need you to apply it. Okay. And I got to say this, if you don't apply, guys, it won't take off. Okay. So let's go through these. 4 things. 4. And we have 40 minutes on the clock. I'm going to try to spend 10 minutes each on each thing. Okay. So let's get started. Point number 1. These are the 4 reasons why most people are not great at sales and therefore are not making revenue in their business. When we talk about revenue, I'm talking about consistent revenue. I've had the 10K months. I've had, the 5K months. I've had all that. But that does not mean a hill of beans if you don't have consistent monthly revenue. Okay. So a lot of people have these blow up moments, where you launch a product, you make a whole bunch of money, and then that's it. You had a great launch, you got all excited, and then the next month or 90 days after that first quarter, you're just kind of swimming in the monotonous sea of no sales, right? And this is something that it does not matter how well known you are. I know people who have 10 times the followers I have and are broke. 5 times the followers that I have and are broke. Okay. This is not about how many followers you have on social media, right? I made my first 6 figures selling to people that weren't on social media directly. It was through relationships and it was through reaching out to local businesses, right? So what I'm talking about is not about, you have to have this size email list. And no, you don't. But I will say that before I get started, tonight is really focused on service-based businesses. This is not focused on product-based businesses such as those who sell, t-shirts or have a boutique. That's a whole different strategy. Now, some of the things that I'm saying will apply, but to me, e-commerce and that whole volume game, that's a whole different animal. I'm speaking more those who are service-based providers, okay, who are selling a service or a high-end product, and the process of your sales are a huge part to how you're making your money in consistent revenue. Okay. So the first thing that most people need to focus on is number 1, identifying, do you have a lack of problems? And let me define what that means. So when I say a lack of problems, it means that you're having a problem figuring out what your product or service solves. And this is big because the first step with this is, do you even have the right product? And this is where people get offended. And this is why a lot of people don't make money, because you're so emotionally tied to ideas that you can't even realize if something's not working. Or even if it's not working, you ignore the fact it's not working and you try to work it 1,500 different ways, right? And sometimes you have to be honest and realize you're not selling the right thing. Okay. And it does not mean that you can't sell a variation, but you have to know what is not working and be adult enough to switch, change, adapt. And in business, many people are emotional about their business. And I'm telling you, that's probably the one thing when it comes to do I have the right product? People are so consumed with thinking that they're right that they don't realize that your customer will tell you if what you're selling is actually for them. Right? So I have to first realize what actual problem that currently exists, not will exist 20 years down the road. And sometimes, we have innovators that are ahead of the game, but that's not the majority of regular small business owners. Okay. The majority of people, it's not the right product. So first identifying, okay, what is it that someone is currently having a problem with in today's world and they're desperate to solve? Here's the thing. If what you're selling cannot feed somebody's desperation to buy it from you, then we have the wrong product. Okay, we have the wrong product. We have the wrong product, right? And someone can say, well, Genesis, does it have to really be desperate? Yes, because if I need to make money in the next 30 days, I do not want to sell a product that people really don't need. Right? So I have to figure out what is a current desperate need that will sell the fastest. Okay. That will sell the absolute fastest. So I have to realize what problems am I solving, especially in a service-based business. And if you do not understand the problem, it's going to be hard to get to our 3 other points. Okay, so you have to really know what are the problems that the market that you're trying to sell in is experiencing. And a lot of people, what they want to do is they want to find something to sell that they like. I want to sell web design. I like to do graphics. I like to do websites. Okay, that's great. That's awesome. Awesome. But when you look at the messaging that major companies use, they're not selling just a website. They're not selling just graphics. They're not selling just photography. They're not selling just hair. They're selling either an experience that solves a problem, or they're selling directly to a problem that people need to solve instantly, right? And so you have to realize, am I figuring out what these actual problems are? Right? And we call them in business pain points, right? And some of you guys already know this. Some of you have MBAs, but you refuse to follow what you learned in college. But you got to apply this stuff. So where are the pain points? If I look at your website, if I look at, whatever your selling platform is, if I don't see the pain points, you're not speaking, which we're going to get to next, but you're not speaking to the problem. Right? You're going to make a ton of money if you can figure out a great problem to solve. Okay. Now, within this problem I want to also add, because we have 4 minutes left before I go to my next point, stop being prideful about selling, especially when it comes to solving problems. What do I mean by this? Some of you want a cute business. You ask yourself, what's the easiest business to start? What requires the least amount of energy? Guess what? Knock, knock, knock. There's no such thing as the easy business. No such thing. No such thing. People say, oh, we'll start a drop shipping business. That's the easiest. You think e-commerce is the easiest type of business to start, where volume is the name of the game? Okay. No, okay? Or you think that by selling something expensive that you'll make more money? Not true either. You have to sell what you know. Okay? Because if you don't know, and here's the thing, it doesn't even have to be what your passion is, or the biggest thing in your life, but you have to know it well enough to communicate its value, the problems that it solves, and you have to be able to deliver a passion so that people are convinced to buy it from you, right? And this is why for a lot of people, when it comes to the product part, they just want to pick something that they find that's easy to sell. This is why I tell a lot of coaches, a lot of people who are called to speak, like God has actually called them to speak, to write and teach. They love to sell cheap products. So like I'll see coaches, they love to sell t-shirts, but they won't sell a course or a coaching program. They love to sell a mug that has writing on it because they refuse to get still and actually begin to speak into people's lives or become a corporate speaker. So what they do is they pick the cutest thing. They struggle for about 2 years, making barely any sales because they want the easy way out. Oh, I'm just going to sell cute t-shirts with sayings on them. I could get that if you were meant to sell t-shirts, but many people are not actually meant to sell t-shirts. But they hide behind products that are easy to create, instead of you doing what you're supposed to do. So you need to find what problem am I actually called to solve? Okay, what does that look like? What are those? List those problems. Why are they experiencing those problems? What are they looking for? What are they desperate for? And if you have a local-based business that provides a service, you need to do market research to hear about the problems. Read the reviews of other businesses. What are people complaining about? Go to city hall meetings. What are people begging what they want to be brought into their current arena or area? You have to become obsessed with being the solution. So that's number one. Okay, I've got 1 minute left for point number one, right? So you have to realize, do I have a lack of problems? Okay, because I need an abundance of problems. Matter of fact, you're called to look for problems and to solve them. That's what your gift is called to do. You are identifying problems and you're looking to solve them because you are the solution giver. And that covers anything. I mean, if you write a book, do not write a book to write a book. Write a book that solves a problem. And it doesn't have to be a nonfiction. You could write a romantic a fiction book. And you know what? It solves the problem of people's desire, right, to read a book that has a certain type of plot, right? So you have to see what you're doing as a solution no matter what industry you're in. Okay, so stop overthinking it. Just find a problem and start solving it. Okay, let's go to point number two. Okay, point number two. Do you have a lack of clarity? Oh, now if this is you, let me know. Are you that person that says, Genesis, listen, I've been trying to sell this thing. I've been trying to push what it is, but I just have a hard time communicating the problem. I have a hard time communicating that I am the solution. If that's you, let me know in the chat. I know what it is that I want to do, but I'm struggling to communicate that to people. So when people ask me what I do, I take too long to talk about it. I always end up, giving 3 paragraphs when it really should have been a 10-second answer. That's a good amount of people. So they may know what the problem is, but then we get to point number 2, which is that they have a lack of clarity on how to communicate that. Right? So let's talk about why you need the right message. Okay, let's talk about the right messaging. Okay, because you'll never make money if you cannot communicate the right message. Money and messaging are connected. Okay, so once I know what problem I'm meant to solve, once I know that I have the right product, okay, then I have to train myself on how to properly communicate. Now let's talk about communication, because this is something that I teach on and speak woman speak. Okay, so here's the thing about and guess what, Whitney, that actually is a connection, because I'm gonna go so Whitney just said, I don't have a problem communicating my value, I just struggle with visibility. But if you struggle with visibility, it also shows that you have a problem communicating your value. Because when it comes to value, you should only be showing up in places that would find you valuable. So that's a part of communication, because if I'm communicating with the wrong people, I'm not communicating. It's like talking to a wall, right? If I'm supposed to be talking to a person, but I'm talking to a wall, am I communicating? Yeah, but you're not effectively communicating, right? So this is why I'm going to take a step back. And I like what you said, Whitney, because it brings us to this. Clarity. Clarity is the root of how you solve the problem, right? I can't solve a problem if I lack the clarity of where I need to go, who I need to talk to, when I need to show up, right? And we talk about this in, not to get biblical, but we teach this in Speak Woman Speak. In our Speak Woman Speak cohort, I teach on when Jesus, and if you're watching and you're not a spiritual person, you can use this just as a simple example, okay? You don't have to get spiritual with it. But Jesus, in the New Testament, the Bible talks about how he opened up the scroll, right? And before he ever did anything in the earth, he opens up the scroll, right? And it's from the prophet Isaiah. And it's when he begins to speak out what he is here for, who he is here for, and what he's meant to do, right? He makes it very clear. He has complete clarity on why he's here, who he's here for, and what he's going to do, right? It is of no question of what Jesus is about to do, right? He has complete clarity. So then what he carries out next makes complete sense, because he just said what he's going to do, who he's meant to impact, right? And so it's kind of funny on how, the Pharisees and different people are like shocked of what he's doing when he talked about it in the synagogue, right? So when you know your product well, right, your product identifies who you're meant for. Your product should be identifying where you should go. This is why a lot of times people say, oh, I know my product. I know what I'm supposed to sell. Well, if you know what you're supposed to sell, then you should also know who you're supposed to sell it to, because it's supposed to be solving a problem that certain people have. Right? So this is why you got to make sure you really got that clarity, because if I know what kind of problem you have, then my communication is going to be very easy, because all I have to do is begin to talk to you about what your problem is and how my product will solve it. That's how simple it is. That is actually the bare bones. The problem with people is that they add on like 15 other paragraphs that no one asked for. Well, I have a dog, and my dog, yeah, he likes kibbles and bits. Okay, no one's talking about your dog right now. I mean, you can use this like a networking connection, but you need to be talking about your problem though that you solve, right? Let's stay focused, right? So it's as simple as, what is their problem, right? How are you meant to solve it? It's that simple. It's that simple, right? So if I know the problem, then where are the people that have the problem? That's where you need to go, right? Oh, people say, oh, Jesus, but what do I say? How do I say it? Open up your mouth. See, this is the overcomplicating part that I don't understand. Open up your mouth and tell someone about how your product solves their problem. Ask them about their problems. Right? Communicate, list your pain points. Are you someone who struggles with da-da-da-da? Are you looking for a restaurant? Da-da-da-da? Are you looking to experience da-da-da-da? Right? Question them about what you know that they're looking for. Right? See, if we're not talking about the problem, then we can't be the solution. But you have to make it clear to people. Right? Gotta make it clear. Okay? So I have to make sure that I have the right message, and it needs to speak to exactly who I'm meant to target. Some of you are scared to target because you don't have faith to target, and you need to get your faith and confidence up, because you believe that, I'm for everybody. I'm for everybody. Really, what that means is you have a fear of being focused. Okay? You need to focus. You got to find who you're meant for. You're not meant for everybody. You're not Target. You're not Walmart. You're not a big box store. Okay? And even with those brands, they still know who they're meant to serve. They're still niched. You may not find it niched for you, but I'm telling you this, they will not exist if they did not have a focus on who they're meant to target. They know it. They know the socioeconomic status. They know the type of lifestyles that their customers live. They know how much they would spend on average for certain products and services. Oh, they've done their research to know who they're meant to target. And so this is why you have to become obsessed, number one, with finding those problems that you solve. But then number two, knowing and being consistent in your clarity. Okay? Focusing on your people. You have to focus on your people, not someone else's people. You have to focus on your people, on the problems that they have, not the problems someone else has. Not the problems someone else has, not has, right? So sometimes what people do is they look at someone else who's making a ton of money in their same industry. And then they say, well, you know what? I'm going to change my message and who I'm targeting because so-and-so over there is making a ton of money. So I'm going to change who I'm focused on because I want to make as much money as they're making. But see, that's how you miss your blessing. When you should be focused on who God has called you to sell to, and you need to focus and talk to them, communicate with them, ask them, okay? Ask them. And see, if you're antisocial, you're not going to make money because you don't want to ask people what their problems are. You don't want to talk to anybody. So you just throw them a product and you just hope they, go pick it up, go buy it, this is you, go buy it. So this is the product that you're selling. Just kind of throw it, toss it across the street. Okay, now you go buy it. You don't ask them, is this actually something that you would find valuable? No. Okay, no, I wouldn't. Why not? I would love to know how this could best fit you, right? See, people don't want to face rejection, but you want people's money, right? So I have to learn that my ideas are not proprietary to me. Because products and services can change. They should be able to change. If you are so emotional on your creations, you will not be a good business owner because you will be someone that struggles to adapt because you make this so personal. You're so emotionally attached. So if someone tells you, well, I really didn't like this. Guess what you say? I guess you're not the one. Guess you're not the right customer for me. No. No. See, that's how you learn how to make a better product. That's how you learn how to write a better book. That's how you learn. But see, a lot of times what we do is we want to give people stuff and just make sure, well, you should like that. Why should they like it? Why should they like it? You tell me why. Well, because it's what I made. Okay, so now we have a sense of pride and entitlement, right? See, what I want you to do is to talk to your customers because you are in business for your customers, and they will actually make you a better business owner. And by you taking the recommendations, you will actually evolve and become better and better because now you are crafting what you're doing for them, right? Who better to ask than the people that you're meant to serve? Right? So this is why it's important to what? To make sure that you have clarity of who you're talking to. Know them. Know your audience so that you can talk to them about the right things, okay? So it could be lack of problems. It could be lack of clarity. Here's number three. Lack of passion. Okay. And this is how I know, and this is not to judge anybody, but it is to assess growth, okay? Okay. And before I say this, please know that I love everybody. I love everybody. Okay. I love everybody. Okay. But I want you to hear this from a business perspective. Okay. If you really believe that what you're doing is meant for the world, if you really believe, people say, I put my blood and sweat and tears in my business. You just don't know how much time I've put into this. Okay. Then where's the passion to sell it? Right? Like where's that at? See, I've been teaching on this topic for years. So anything that I say, really, it's not anything new. It's not anything new. We did a whole intensive and challenge called Sales School. Right, we did, I think, like a year ago. And one of the things we were talking about is that, you cannot be someone that tells other people that God called you to do something, create something, and then you hoard it. Or you act like, it's okay that people don't get it in their hands, and so you make God out to be a liar. That's really what you make him out to be a liar. I mean, because if you tell people that, God's anointed me to write this book and he's anointed me to, launch this business. So if God's anointed you, how come people are not hearing about it on a consistent basis? I mean, the anointing, I thought, and I'm just going to, again, not to get biblical about it. I got to add this. I thought the anointing was supposed to break yokes. How can you break yokes and you are in hiding? You can't break yokes in hiding. You can't set people free in hiding. And when I talk about hiding, you know that hiding does not necessarily mean that people can't see you. Can I go there? Because I see people online, I see people in person, right? And they're still hiding. And let me tell you what hiding means. Hiding is when you are not in right position. Hiding is where your feet are everywhere but where you're supposed to be. So, you created a planner, a journal, you created a course, you created a service, right, that people can invest in. And it's like I'm hearing crickets, right? So if this is something that you have told me or the world that you put your blood and sweat, tears in you, and you don't know how much money I've invested in this, and you just don't know. Well, I'm gonna throw it back to you. I don't think you know. I love you, but I don't think you know. I don't think you realize how much of the greatness that's on the inside of you because you're saying one thing. You're saying that. Man, I know this is going to be a great product for the world. I know people will. Okay, but have you realized on how greatness is not supposed to just stay in you, but it's supposed to be released to the world? So the thing about passion is not just an emotion. It's not something that's just fleeting. Okay? When it's something that you're passionate about, it is something that there is a fervor for. It drives you. It's a driver. So if you claim that you're passionate about something, but it easily can walk in and out of your life like this, it's not a passion. Maybe an idea, and maybe something that you may, like to do every now and then, but it's not a passion. It's not a driver. Because if it was driving you, your feet will be going somewhere. And I'm saying this out of love. And I'm going to tell you why I'm saying this out of love. Because there are people that are waiting on you to show up. And you're in a place now where if you keep on playing around, you're going to end up playing yourself out of what God has placed in your life for you, out of what has been created. So in other words, God gave you all these ideas, right, that are supposed to be product services, right? People are meant to experience these things, but because you want to play around, overthink, you want to make things so complicated, people are like in limbo. Okay, they're waiting on you, But what are they supposed to do? They're gonna go out and find somebody else if you keep on doing what you're not supposed to do. So I'm saying this out of love to get you to realize what are you really, if this is a passion, this is really a passion, it should come out of you like fire. I get women who come in my inbox and say, oh, Genesis, I love your boldness, I love your fire. How do I get that? How do I get that? It's not something that you get. It's not something that you get. It's not something you order, comes to your house. It's because I'm passionate. It's because I'm passionate. And passion is not about how loud you are. Passion is about where your fire is and how you show up because you really want to see other people experience what God has given you as a gift. You want people to experience, if you are a salon owner and you know that God's giving you the gift of working hair, right? You want women to experience your chairs. So you're that kind of person where you can't even shut up about your hair business because you know what it will do for people. See, once it's clicked in my mind, once it's clicked in my heart and in my belief system that what I have been producing is needed, it would be hard for you to shut that off, because you realize just how much that is needed. Okay? So I need you to believe in what you've created. If you believe in it so much, go out and sell it. And this is what I hear people say, well, Genesis, I tried to sell it and nobody wanted it. Yeah. Nobody wanted it. So, I emailed 2 people. They didn't want to collaborate. So I'm done doing collaborations. I went to a vendor event, nobody bought my products. So, I'm done vending. These different excuses, I know people who should have had government and corporate contracts and partnerships by now. Could have been selling their services to, corporation organizations, nonprofits. But guess what? You email one person, they email you back. So, I guess that's not a good idea. It has to be, and this is big too, because it doesn't have to be, it's the funny part too. It doesn't have to be, passion does not mean that you actually have to be passionate necessarily about the exact topic. You have to be passionate about people experiencing the solution. Right? I have friends who have had businesses that wasn't even their skill set. It wasn't even their skill set. But they had a passion for business. They had a passion for solving problems. So it was easy for them to talk about a pizza shop, and they don't make pizzas. Never cooked a pizza a day in their life. Never. But you know what? They were convinced that their pizzas were amazing pizzas. They didn't grow up baking pizzas. They didn't grow up making pizzas. But guess what? They started a pizza business. Right? I know people own franchises. They never made subs before. They weren't making subs since they were the age of 5, but they realized that they found a problem, right, that people had, and they were passionate about solving the problem. You have to get more passionate. And this is that thing, this is when we talk about passion. Some of you are making your passion so personal. Can I say this? I'm going to say it. So personal that when a group of people or a few people don't receive your passion, right, you take it personal. You make things so personal. So instead of you being okay, that's a closed door, let me move on to the next one, you internalize the rejection and then you make your business go in limbo, right? Here's what I really want you to do, right? Here's what I really want you to do. Okay, we're coming to a close, okay? I want you to realize that you got to get your energy back to push this business forward. Business does not just create itself, and kind of push itself along. You have to have a passion for people and helping them to experience the solution. You don't actually, again, have to be passionate about exactly what your business does. Again, I have friends who have pizza shops. They did not grow up making pizzas. But you know what they're obsessed about? They're obsessed about people tasting good pizza. And for them, that's what they're passionate about. They're passionate about solving problems. So you have to be passionate about people experiencing that solution. If you can get hooked on the people, and you can get out of that making everything so personal, you will move past rejection quicker. You will be more obsessed about the people who do need you versus the people who don't need you. And you will find yourself making more money as an automatic byproduct. Okay. So that's going to be the thing. So again, let's go through our list before we wrap up. We got 10 minutes left on the clock. Number one, I got to make sure that I got to find problems. I got to find problems. And all you need is one good problem to solve consistently. Okay. And so with that, I got to make sure that I have the right product. Number two, I got to make sure that I have clarity. Okay. Once you know what you're selling, you know who you're selling to. And again, these are kind of basics, but a lot of people are not doing the basics. People tell me, oh yeah, I know what my customer avatar is. I know who I'm meant to sell. Yeah, I've done the courses. I've done all this. And then I asked them, why aren't you talking to your customer avatar? If you know it, if you claim you know, why aren't you do? Why, if I claim I know, why don't I do? Right? So, and guess how I know that you're doing? Because I see the money coming in. So this is why nothing phases me. When people tell me, now I have paid over from masterminds. I have learned from the best. I have. And then I ask them, well, then why are you broke? I know that may be offensive to some people, but right. It's because they overcomplicate. Right. Now, I just don't have the right logo yet. The colors aren't speaking to me yet. Man, my first business, my logo was typed and I took a screenshot because I didn't even know how to even make a logo at the time. It's when I first started in graphics. I didn't even know how to make a logo. So I made the logo out of fonts. I, typed the word, selected my font in a Word doc and screenshot the part of the document. I knew how to screenshot. So I typed my logo. It was a text logo. Screenshot. I made that my logo. Now, that's not how I'm really supposed to make a logo. But what I realized is that the first thing I need to do is make some money. Okay. I'm so fixed on the logos and all this. I first need to make sure I was selling. Okay. Because what good is beauty if you can't sell it? Okay. So you got to make sure I got a good problem. I have clarity in my messaging. Right. But then like we talked about number 3, I got to make sure that I have the passion to sell. And the reason why you have the passion to sell is because you realize that people need what it is that you have. Okay. But then here's 4. Lack of purpose presence. You're not talking to the right people. Now, I love people. This is why I do what I do. I sent an email out tonight to my email community. So you should have, if you're a part of my email community, then you should have got that email. Like 3,500 of you should have got the email. Okay, because I checked up the new email subscribers. So it should have been about 3,500 that got the email. Okay. So in the email, right, I talked about the importance of relationships and networking. Right. And how, you can't make money in hiding. When I say hiding, I don't mean that, you have to come out your house necessarily, but it's the fact of you not being in your right place. Right. So you have to know where not just your audience is, but you have to make sure that you're consistently in those places, right? And you have to spend time developing those relationships, right? So what people are doing is they pop up one place, they don't make any money. Okay, it's not working. I'm going to go pop over here, right? And because some people have a desperation mindset, they get offended if someone doesn't instantly buy from them. Right. I went there and no one bought anything. So, I'm on to the next. And it's almost like we have this entitlement that people are supposed to buy from you because you exist. Right. Wow. You have established no connection. You have not built any type of relationships, right? So you believe that because you said that you have a good product, that people should walk up to you, give you money, right? You have not communicated anything of value, right? You can have the most valuable product, right? But if people are not identifying that value, right? If you're in a place where people who would not even need the solution to their problems, that doesn't match, that's not going to work, right? So this is where sometimes it's best for us to, instead of us just jumping into places, to figure out where should my feet be planted, and am I working that soil long enough to cultivate a sale, right? So this is why you got to talk to people. When I first started my business, right, one of the things that I did, this is going back to when I started my web and graphic design business, right? One of the things that I did was I began talking to people about what were their actual reasons for getting a website, because I didn't want to be just that person selling websites, because I mean everybody sells websites now, right? But if I'm gonna start making over a certain amount of money, right, why do you need this website? What are you looking to do with this website, right? And so I stopped selling websites. I started selling instead digital infrastructures. I started selling on how we can make the systems talk to each other, use and make your website an online home that actually adds conversion, right, as a measurable, right? So, I'm not just building websites, but how we're going to help you make more money with this website. That's a whole different conversation, right? I begin to make myself knowledgeable on how systems can talk to each other to make you more money. I begin to identify the do's and don'ts through failures of, okay, this is how we can build it this way. This is how we can build things that way, right? I began to make sure that I was not just selling something, but I was selling the answer to someone's problem. But that came through conversation, came through talking to people, building relationships, right? And knowing that just because you talk to somebody once does not make them an instant buyer. But what you do is you make that connection that creates a seed. But I also don't make connections just to make money from somebody, because you never know who may be an open door to something else, right? So I was also making relationships to make relationships. And some of you want to make relationships to make money. Right? And while that is awesome, you will always make money as a byproduct if you jump into the relationship for the right reason. Okay? So if you're focused on, I got to talk to them because I want to make some money off of them, right? You're not going to go into this well. I'm trying to tell you, it's not going to be a good situation. And you're going to be offended because if they don't want what you have, you're going to make it personal. Right? We're not going to make this personal. Instead, what we're going to realize is I'm building this relationship. So when we talk about relationships, like the email I said, you have to figure out too what spaces you want to enter into. What associations, organizations should you be joining that would allow you to know more people? One of the things I always tell people is that if you don't know where your local chamber of commerce is and you're not connected to it, that's a problem. That's a problem. Well, I sell online services. Doesn't matter. Does not matter. Does not matter. You should be connected to your local chamber of commerce. You should know where your SBA or your small business development corporation locations are in your state. Right? You should know where the major organizations and associations for business owners exist, or nonprofits exist in your state. If you don't know that, you need to look that up, right? Some of you're missing out on regional connections, right? You're not placing yourselves at conferences enough, right? And so, you just feel like people should just be finding you, right? But a lot of you, if you place yourself into the right environments versus chasing people on social media that aren't even your audience, you will make a lot more money. Now, I'm not saying that social media isn't a bad thing. Some of you can make I made a ton of money on social media, but I learned how to work relationships though in my local state. I learned how to make relationships at conferences. I learned how to make relationships through not just regular networking events, but networking events that were surrounded around who I was meant to serve. Right? So this is where you have to find complementary networking events. Like for instance, if I'm an interior decorator, right? I may want to go to a real estate type of networking event. Right? If I'm going to a home buyers conference, that's a great place as a home decorator to go to, right? If I'm selling, prayer journals, right? Of course, people automatically think about, religious conference organizations, but a lot of people aren't even going to those. Right? So, it's, these are places you could easily go to, right? But because a lot of people don't want to work it, they're like, that's just like a lot of work. And, I just don't think that's something I really want to do. And when I hear that, I'm hearing you don't want to build relationships. You don't want to actually build a business. You want a microwavable solution for you to make some money. And that is not a business. That's like a little side hustle. That's not even a hustle. That's not even a hustle because you're not even hustling, right? That's I don't know. That's some easy bake oven type stuff, right? So you got to make sure that you understand purpose presence, that you understand what it actually means to show up well. So let's do our takeaways. What's going to be your homework? Number one, I want you to become obsessed about the problem that you solve. Obsessed. Because You're in business. Why wouldn't you be obsessed? Number two, get really clear on your message. Now, you will get clear on your message when you know what it is that you're actually selling, right? I mean, clarity, and it's I think people overthink talking too. Like, stop talking about everything else that does not matter, okay? Start talking about your business, the problem it solves, okay, and how you're meant to help them. Just start there, okay? Don't add all this extra fluff. Don't give me the background story from 30 years ago. Just focus on the problem and what you're meant to do and how you're meant to solve it, okay? Let's just start there, okay? With your messaging, learn how to be straight to the point, right? Straight to the point, okay? That's going to help you with that clarity, okay? Number three, your passion. You need to give us the right energy, okay? Okay? If you're not showing up for your business, do not talk to me about why you're not making any money. I do not want to hear it. I don't want to hear it, okay? I don't want to hear it because you cannot make money if you're not willing to show up. The money does not just show up because you don't want to. It shows up when you show up, okay? And there has to be a passion and a consistency. If you really love your business, show me. If you really love your business, I should be able to see it. I should be able to see it. And that's necessarily mean social media. But if you're local or you're trying to focus on local sales, then I should look at your activity and see that you've been working. Man, you've been calling, you've been emailing, you've been partnering, you've been collaborating. And some of you, you want to stay online all day. And I'm all for, okay, cool. But you have not worked the personal connections. When I first hit my first 6 figures in my business, it was not because of social media. This is the funny thing about social media. People really get jacked up over these numbers. Like somehow the correlation of followers means money. Hey, like that is some of you guys are really not focusing on sales. You are focused on vanity, right? And I'm not saying that there's nothing wrong with followers, right? But really the best thing in when it comes to revenue is conversion. If you cannot get someone to buy from you, it doesn't matter how many people are following you. You have not proven to them that you can solve a problem, right? And so whether you do it in person, physically, locally, or you do it online, the goal is you have to show up, you have to convince people that you have the answer to their problems, and you have to be consistent so that over time, people don't have to guess what is it you do. People don't have to guess or wonder how you're going to do it. People don't have to guess and wonder, are they good at this, right? You are building progress. You are showing your results. Some of you aren't even talking about your clients. We don't even know that you decorate. You haven't told us about decorating. We haven't seen pictures. We haven't seen testimonials, right? And so it's like, you got to show us that this is your thing. Make it your thing. Prove it to me that this is what you do. Prove to me this is what you're passionate about. Prove to me that you love this thing. Okay? Don't make God a liar. Okay? If you said that God called you to do something, stop making God a liar. Okay? If you said that God called you to do this, then show us that he called you to do it. Show up well. I want to see you talking about it. I want to see you posting about it. If you're going to be on social media, if you're going to be offline, I want to see you connecting then offline. I want to see you sending those emails, sending those cold calls, or sending whether it's a cold email, a cold call, a cold text, whether it's you walking into businesses and introducing yourself. If you say this is what you're called to do or sell, then show me. Okay? This is not some like, I'm going to think about it. It's nothing to think about. You've been thinking enough. Okay? Let's wrap this up. You've been thinking enough. That's your problem. You've been thinking too much. Okay? Okay. And then last thing is number 4, you have to make sure that you realize your purpose presence. Stop being everywhere. Stop being everywhere with everybody, with everyone. Okay? That's why some people have not made a lot of money because they've been in the wrong places, talking to the wrong people, thinking that visibility means you being everywhere. Sometimes visibility is not about being seen by everybody. The best visibility is being seen by the right people. I would rather be seen by 3 people that I'm meant to see, that I'm meant to connect with, than 1,000 people who I'm not meant to connect with, right? So for some of us, we want to chase the 1,000. You have to work your 3, right? If you worked your 3, work the 3 that are meant for you, okay? And watch how maybe one of those 3 people know 1,000 people that you can connect with, right? And so you want to make sure that you're connected with the right people, right? So this is why I want you to I want you to literally write this stuff down, know your problems, right? Communicate those, practice talking in the mirror. Do whatever you have to do. Stop giving me excuses, okay? Practice in the mirror, okay? Talk to a friend, practice with a friend, practice with a colleague. Say, hey, listen, I want to practice how I communicate to customers over the phone or whatever, email. Let me know what you think about this, right? Let's practice. Let's put in the work, right? Number 3, show us your passion. Okay, show it. So if you feel like I got to work on showing my passion, talking about previous clients I've worked with, showing the work that we've been able to do, then you need to work on that. Then 4, you need to assess. And matter of fact, the email I sent out tonight clearly outlines this. I gave you strategy in the email, but you need to realize in each quarter, where should my feet be? In each quarter, you should be building who you're connected to. Okay, your network should be expanding, okay? But it should be expanding strategically. Making money is not hard. I'm going to do a whole separate video on money because some of y'all, you think money so. Making money is not hard. Say that one again. We're almost done. Making money is not hard. Here's the qualifier, when you stop overcomplicating making money. Okay? Okay? It's not hard. See, some of you, your mental's already struggling with what I'm saying. You know why? Because you're letting your previous experience, all that kind of stuff, talk to you. It's okay. It's going to be hard to sell if you don't think making money is easy. It's going to be very hard to sell. Okay? Because you think it's so hard. So, this is too much work. Okay? You have to make sure that each quarter, who is my business getting exposed to? Remember, a connection does not mean automatic sales. It means building a relationship. Okay, so I got to figure out what kind of events, conferences, associations I should be a part of, organizations that I should be a part of that will be a benefit to my growth, a benefit. Sometimes it's all about, finding mentors. It could be about finding the right partnerships, collaborations, being exposed to information that would further your business, right? Some of you just want to sell, but you're not thinking about the long-term effects of good connections. So these are some of the things I want you to focus on. And people say, well, how's the strategy for sales? I just told you how to make more money. I did. I really did. If you apply these in a simple pattern, you will make more money. You will. I'm telling you, you will make more money. There's no secret sauce. Okay? So here's what I want you to do. We're finished. We're wrapping this up. And the YouTube channel that I am streaming from, the main one, we're changing our name. So we're changing it from Print School to Make 5 Figures because, number one, Print School got trademarked recently. And so we have to change the name because I do not want to get sued. Okay. So we're changing the name. But I really want to focus on people learning how to make consistent revenue first, because I'm seeing it more and more as a main issue. Like people, they're focused on all these other things instead of being simplistic in simple measurables. So we're changing the YouTube channel from Print School to Make 5 Figures. We're still gonna be focused on planners and journals, still gonna be focusing on, women and monetizing their gifts. But we're gonna be expanding some of these conversations. And I'm gonna be showing you simple systems that you can use to track your sales, to track how you show up, to track how you communicate. I'm going to even be doing a video on how I basically spoke to myself in the mirror to train myself how to become better at communication. Because some of these things are simplistic things, but we have to work the simple measurables, the simple activities, so that you can become better, okay? The last thing is that this month during February, I am launching a special offer that's going to go out. You'll be able to see more information about that. And it's going to be helping those of you who are ready to get out there and launch. And I'm talking about businesses, service-based businesses where you've been playing games. You've just been playing games, okay? And you have a service that is hot. There's something that people want, or maybe something that you're not, maybe it's something that, may not be necessarily your top skill set, but you know how to do it. You know how to sell it, right? Well, I'm going to be gathering a couple of slots to help people to, number one, get them executed within 72 hours, because you're taking too long on a logo. You're taking too long on a website. You're overthinking all of it. And so I'm going to be helping a few entrepreneurs get launched in 72 hours. We're going to spend literally 3 days together, not spaced apart, 3 days back to back, 3 days together, okay, to get you out and to get you consistent, okay? Because the thing about it is a lot of people are starting and stopping, right? And so it's hard for you to make monthly revenue. Okay, it's hard to make monthly revenue, right? I may not have been on my YouTube channel for a year, but my main money, I have never stopped making. right? Because at the end of the day, when you're good at what you do, it's consistent. All right. But when you are lacking the problem, the clarity, the passion, the purpose, presence, you go in and out. You go in and out. So we have to get that consistent revenue coming. So I'm going to be creating more and more content. So if you want to come on and learn more and, get more knowledge, then definitely join the YouTube channel. Again, it's called Make Five Figures. Just type in Genesis Dorsey into YouTube. You should be able to find it. Again, join the channel. It says Make Five Figures. And we have about 13,000 subscribers over there. So I'll be waking it back up with more content. This is my first time back after a year. But I want to share all the things I've learned in this year. I mean, I've been doing a lot of great things. And so I want to talk about that, my failures, talk about things that we're doing into this year, and just helping you to learn how to be consistent in your revenue. If you can do this, you will become successful in whatever that looks like, but you have to learn the principles. Guys, have a great rest of your night. I will see you soon on another stream. Okay, bye guys, be blessed. See you YouTube. Bye guys, and see you to stream.